Still think you could, but you know. Yeah, 'cause for sure.
This is our first meeting in July ever.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to bring this meeting to order for July the 7th, 2025. And we have three young men here that would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If they would just come right over here. Tanner, Christian, and Noah.
Very limited.
You can come right there. All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, sir.
First, we will have the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Mayor, when I asked to table the board appointments, I didn't realize that our discussion was supposed to be just focused on the fire department and the interlocal agreements. So I'm going to ask that we go ahead and move the board appointments to our next regularly scheduled board meeting, which is
August 4th.
August 4th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll vote, Commissioner Davis.
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison.
Favor.
Commissioner Miles. Commissioner Baxter.
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank
And
you.
so then I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have public comment. And I don't see her. Is Miss Acevedo Holmes?
We'll circle back.
Does she have a letter or email or anything? Okay. Next is Tamisha McNoams. Did I say that right?
Thomas.
Thomas. Thank you. Right over here, please.
Good afternoon, town. Good afternoon, residents. My name is Tamisha Thomas. I am here to remind you guys of my resume as you guys prepare to vote for the Sustainability Committee. So I just wanted to kind of drop in and let you guys know I'm eager to start to serve. My name is Tamisha Thomas. I am a resident of Zebulon. I live at 556 Carissa Lane. I work with youth and I also work with film and media. And I'm eager to be able to be a resident that contributes to my community. My background is visionary. And so I like the fact that the town of Zebulon is a little bit different from everywhere else that is here that's kind of connected to the triangle. And I just wanted to come and introduce myself again so that you guys can know who Tamisha Thomas is as you move to decide the members of the Sustainability Committee. I'm hearing that you will be moving that meeting to August. And so I just wanted to stop in, say hello, and tell you that I'm eager to serve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we will have, I see Ms. Holmes Acevedo.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor York, commissioners, and town staff. I'm Jennifer Acevedo Holmes. I live right here in Zebulon, specifically in Weaver's Pond. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Community Culture Celebrations, also known as C3. We are a local nonprofit dedicated to building culturally inclusive spaces where every voice is valued and every neighbor feels like they belong. Tonight, I want to share two brief updates. First, language access. I want to thank the interim town manager for the recent updates around inclusion. The town website is now translatable into 5 languages based on our community demographics. And a language proficiency plan is being developed as part of our fire and EMS station project, which will be included in the broader Title VI program later this year. These are meaningful steps forward, so I appreciate the support here, folks. In the same spirit, C3 is committed to walking alongside the town to expand language access in ways that are community-centered and culturally relevant. To support this effort, we are launching a new initiative, which we're calling Spanish Interpreted Highlight Videos of these Board of Commissioner meetings. Starting with tonight, we are aiming to post on our C3 Facebook page, with the first video going live tomorrow based on this meeting. With that, we are being able to provide the support that our Spanish-speaking community members need, especially in the climate that we're in nationally and locally. It's not always easy or comfortable for everyone in the Latino community to show up in these public meetings. There are real fears and barriers that can keep people from participating, even when they care deeply about what's happening in our town. That's why C3 is aiming to help bridge the gap in a way that feels safe, accessible, and empowering. We're proud to offer this as a community-led solution, and we look forward to continuing to partner with the town to explore more sustainable, long-term ways of making language access a reality for all Zebulon residents. The second thing I would like to give you folks an update on is the Latino Festival. I again want to thank the town for your continued collaboration in bringing this historic event to life. One big update we're proud to share tonight is that we are officially calling the event Latin American Festival to reflect the rich diversity of cultures represented in our community, to make the celebration as inclusive as possible. We've aligned with a July 2026 date, and we've been working closely with Sheila Long and Amy Hayden from Parks and Rec to move forward with our planning. Our shared goal is for the town of Zebulon to serve as presenting sponsors, and we're currently developing a formal MOU to outline responsibilities and budget considerations. Based on Sheila's guidance, we'll be submitting the full proposal in time for the September Board of Commissioners meeting. I want to thank you again on behalf of my nonprofit, our community, for your leadership and your commitment for making Zebulon a place where all cultures and communities feel seen, respected, and celebrated. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will have, this is Thornton Smith. Trenton.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and neighbors. My name is Trenton Schmidt, and I'm a proud resident of Zebulon. I want to start by thanking each of you for your service and dedication to our growing community. I'm here tonight as an engaged member of the community and someone who's deeply invested in the future of Zebulon. As a realtor and a member of a local HOA board, I see every day how growth, development, and infrastructure affect residents, both new and long-standing. I believe we have a tremendous opportunity to build a Zebulon that balances smart growth with community values, and I'm here to listen, learn, and contribute whatever I can. I'm also excited to share that I've filed to run for Zebulon Town Commissioner this year. My goal is to be a steady, solutions-focused voice on behalf of the people who live, work, and raise their families here. Thank you for allowing me the moment to speak. I look forward to the work ahead and to being a strong partner in moving Zebulon forward.
Thank you. Next, we will have Mary Beth Carpenter.
Hey, good evening. I'm Mary Beth Carpenter, Executive Director of Preservation Zebulon. Our Preservation Zebulon Board has asked me to request that the town consider saving the historic portion of the Bennett Bunn property, which was under consideration for development by Eastwood Homes of Raleigh, and to make it into a park. This about 30-acre parcel includes the circa 1833 home and the circa 1790 cabin, dairy barn, and dairy house, and also other circa 1830 outbuildings, and a Bunn cemetery and a slave cemetery. This property is listed as a Wake County landmark, and it's also listed on the National Register of Historic Places as a standalone listing. The property was in the Bunn family for over 200 years, and it recently became a wedding venue and horse farm under ownership of Tom and Jill Hendrickson. The Bunn family has a very deep history in this area, as I had detailed before about 2 months ago at the zoning hearing. This about 30-acre parcel, the historic portion of the parcel that is, was part of an 867-acre tract, and it would be a wonderful park to explore early farming and to highlight the rural history of this area. Preservation Zebulon requests the town to consider purchasing the historic parcel of this property and consider it for a park similar to Oak Ridge Park on Carrier Drive to educate its citizen on its historic roots. After all, this is one of the last properties of its kind and the only 1790 era property in Zebulon's ETJ. Thank you for your consideration. Feel free to reach out to me for more details on the full history. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Dr. Cohen, but I don't see him here. Did he send an email or letter? Okay. We will move forward. Next, we have the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Oh, here he is. All in favor? Motion passes.
Can
I
we-
see Dr. Cohen just came in. Would you do your public comments?
Thank you very much. I would like to ask that something be done for 87, but I think that's beyond your powers or control.
Working on it.
I appreciate that. I wanted to come forward today with hopefully some more positive comments. Last time I came up here, I was pretty irritated by the way things had happened in the meeting, and I had 3 solutions that I think would bring about some change. The goal being to increase the effectiveness of this body, this ruling body, to interact positively with the constituency. The first thing I'd like to bring up is that I think that whenever anything is done in open meetings, if there's a staff member and they bring up a piece of paper to be handed out to the different board members, that paper be provided to all the people in the room who took the time to come in here. It's important that I heard a commissioner actually making some good comments and asking some questions, and I had no idea what he was talking about, but it seemed genuine. Then when after the meeting occurred, I found out he was 100% right. It was a good idea. I think it's a simple concept. If it's an open meeting, any documentation is made open to the public. My second suggestion is something that I've already passed along to the commissioners in an email earlier this week. I would like to encourage that in order to cut down the division between the town and the people, that there be an effort of the people to be part of what goes on in the town. One dividing block at present is that there is no motivation really for the town manager to respond to the citizenry. He doesn't have to. He could look at the citizenry as an impediment that he has to deal with, kind of like a McDonald's manager saying, I'd love my job if it weren't for all the customers. On the other hand, if there was a process put into place with a contract before the individual was hired, that a group of citizenry could fire the town manager or censure the town manager. And if this was agreed to prior to contract, would be similar to what is going on in the state with the customer service and the healthcare support systems for any hired staff member. This would be a simple fix, it would be a contractual alteration, and it would not be inconsistent with the processes that have been done before. It would also cut down on the frustration of the elected officials having to explain why things aren't done by the hired individuals in town. You oftentimes get a lot of heat for things that are decided by staff. Let's allow people to talk directly to the staff, and therefore the staff to have the concern of accountability. As Benjamin Franklin pointed out, there's nothing like the thought of loss to motivate someone to actually take care of their responsibilities. This leads me to my last point, which is I would like to encourage that we, and I say this to everybody here, we increase the effort so much towards having more public commentary and interaction between elected officials and citizenry. I'm asking this as a point of view so that there are more conversations, more debates, more town halls, but that I believe there is a difference between what people are typing at home and what you are reading when you read their comments. And I think that bringing people together and having conversation is at worst going to bring up a bunch of shouting matches, which democracy is messy, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But at best, it could bring about better understanding. I will agree to volunteer to put together some of those things. I just need some of the townspeople to offer me some forums, and I just need the elected officials to come to those forums. The goal here is to cut down on the conflict because we'll have dialogue. I recently just found out that some of what you were doing, you thought was a different way. I had no idea. I thought you were just defying our will. And I found out that wasn't right. Fortunately, I had a conversation with one of the commissioners here who cleared it up. If I could have that misunderstanding, why can't others? Benjamin Franklin said to, I think it's appropriate given the 4th of July, Benjamin Franklin said, if you tell me something, I might forget. If you teach me something, I might remember. But if you involve me, I will learn. These 3 points are all about building on involvement. I hope you will consider them. And after, as I catch my breath from running up here, after this is over, feel free to any of you want to talk to me about it. I'll be easy to find. I'm the guy in a hat with a chip on his shoulder. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Next is new business. Public hearing for the fire EMS facility.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the board. Tonight we're going to continue on the discussion of some work we've done the past couple of years regarding the fire and EMS building, the construction and the funding of it. These are a couple early we need to take care of. There'll be another one next month as well. We'll give a brief outline of tonight's presentation. First, we'll talk about the statutory requirements regarding what we're doing tonight, the funding proposals that we received for the financing of our portion of the project, and then hopefully, if you will, to do the financing award of the lender that we're recommending. As part of any construction, installment purchase of vehicles, equipment, real property, North Carolina General Statute 168-20 provides the legal guidance for this. LGC approval is not needed for equipment or vehicle purchases, but it is for construction or repair of fixtures on real property, which this is obviously a real property. So that's why we're doing this process with LGC. North Carolina General Statute 168-225 requires a public hearing of that, which we're doing tonight. And 168-223 requires board adoption of a preliminary findings resolution, which we'll do tonight, and a final resolution, which will be hopefully at the August 4th meeting. A little timeline of the proposals that we'll go over tonight. Back in May 22nd, with the help of Davenport and others. By the way, Ted Cole from Davenport is here tonight, as well as Ashley Anderson from Sands Anderson, the bond counsel. If there are any questions arising for them, they'll be glad to answer. But Davenport sent out this RFP for a direct bank loan. We sent to over 50 national, regional, and local lending institutions. The loan is up to $5.7 million with a 15 and 20-year term options is what we requested. In reality, it's probably going to be closer to about $4.6 million, not knowing the guaranteed maximum price at the time of this RFP. We wanted to at least have cover ourselves on that. So, but it's going to be more about like 4.6 million. We received 3 proposals back of those over 50 that were sent out. First National Bank, KS Bank, and Webster Bank were the 3 that submitted. You'll recognize these next couple slides that were in your packet. I'll just kind of briefly run through them. As I mentioned, there's the 3 lenders, Webster, First National, and KS Bank, with the some notes and the rates in columns D and E for the 15 and 20-year options. Did anybody have any questions on those while I'm on this slide?
Any questions, comments from the board concerning that slide?
No, not concerning this slide, but I do have a question in a moment.
Okay. You'll see that the main one is Webster. That's going to be the recommendation. You'll see here a side-by-side comparison of the 15 and 20-year terms with the rates. And the key thing about Webster, they guaranteed lock the rate for the whole term, which First National only did for 10 years, and then it would be negotiated at that 10-year point to whatever the market conditions are. And then all the rest is just kind of the details of how it would work, bank fees, and how the escrow fund would be set up, items like that. Any questions on this?
Yeah, it says that the interest rate is locked through August 22nd, 2025, if accepted by July 8th, 2025. That just means that the beginning of the loan would start then, and that the interest rate would be locked for the next 15 years?
15 or 20, yeah. Whichever term, yeah, it would be locked. If we accept that rate, it's locked for the duration of the term.
Okay, thanks.
This shows a side-by-side comparison, both of Webster for their 15-year option and a 20-year option. And it shows the column B and D shows the annual debt service payments in each of those scenarios.
If we find ourselves not in a prepayment situation, but in an early repayment situation, not that that happens very often, and I don't necessarily think that that's something that we engage in on the regular, is there any penalty should we close out the loan early?
Not after 10 years, right?
Yep, good evening. If you look at the what's called the call provision on this part of the slide, what Webster has said for the 15-year term, if that's the option you were to select, you can begin prepaying it either in whole or in part, paying it down early, beginning on 8/1 of 30. So there's roughly 5 years where you cannot prepay it. And it's for the first year, there would be a 2% penalty of whatever the prepayment is. It goes to a 1% penalty, and then it says 100%. That just means there's no penalty.
Okay.
So you can start in 2030, and beginning in 2032, you can do so without a penalty. Whereas with the 20-year term, again, you can start in 2030, but it takes a couple years longer to get to the no penalty phase. So either way, no prepayments until 8/1 of 30.
All right.
In whole prepayment or partial prepayment. The partial prepayment, they have said that they would allow that one time per year on a payment date. Minimum amount would be $300,000.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's all I have for right now. We could open the public hearing at this point.
Any other questions or comments from the board at this time? Hearing none. I will declare the public hearing to be open at this point. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this financing the EMS fire station? Come to the podium up front. Hearing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of this financing? Come to the podium. Hearing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak neither for or against? Here's the opportunity to come to the podium.
I know that you've been working this for a long time, so I'm not suggesting you check into it, but just as of last week, Wells Fargo had their handcuffs taken off by the FCC with regard to penalties. So I don't know if there'd be a possibility to reach out to them because they are apparently heavily involved in now business building. So it may be worth asking them whether they would want to put forward a competitive bid, since they're actively trying to recoup from all the losses they took for the FCC bindings 5 years ago.
Anyone else wishes to speak neither for or against this financing? Is there no further comments? I would declare the public hearing closed. New business.
All right, so as I mentioned before, the preliminary findings resolution you'll see in your packet, that is resolution 2026-01. Staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Any questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Could we all make it at the same time? We make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-01.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll vote. Commissioner Davis. Favor. Commissioner Harrison.
Favor.
Commissioner Miles.
Favor.
Commissioner Baxter.
Wholeheartedly in favor.
Motion.
Get this thing built.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And then the next step, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, staff recommendation is for Webster Bank with a 20-year term. The basis of that recommendation is the lowest rate. It's locked in for the life of the loan. And as we talked about a minute ago, the flexibility to prepay or refinance before the final maturity. And staff recommends approval of Resolution 2026-02 for Webster Bank, 20-year term.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2026-02.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter.
In favor.
Commissioner Miles.
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison.
Favor.
Commissioner Davis. Motion passes. Thank you.
Oh, wait, we're done.
Good evening, Board, Mayor and Board of Commissioners. I come to you tonight not asking for any action. But I am very much appreciative of the action you've taken so far on this project. What I want to do is just take just a couple of minutes and tell you about what's coming up for our August meeting. We told you a couple of months ago as we got there, we were going to be a lot of board action to get this project up and running. To be quite honest with you, I didn't have any idea how much stuff we were going to be throwing at you. So we want to try to give you just a little bit of a heads up on what's coming next, and that is our next interlocal agreement with Wake County for funding and construction. So if you're like me, and I kind of looked at it from your perspective, we continue to come back to you with more agreements with Wake County. So just to summarize those pretty quick, in July 1 of 2022, we came to you with a memorandum of understanding with Wake County that allowed us to do site selection. We looked at all the different sites. We used a lot of county resources to do that. Concept development, we started dreaming about what this facility could look like. Then we came back to you again on June 12th in 2024, and we picked the site. We had figured part of that out, but we had a lot of design and construction plan development, project permitting to do. That's what we've been working on very, very hard for the last year, and we were in the very final steps of that process. You may recall when you adopted that back in June of 2024, I told you, I said, this will carry you right up to the point that you give the go-ahead for the project for construction to start, and here we are. So it's very exciting. So our interlocal agreement that what we're going to ask you to look at next month on August 4th, it deals with the construction of the facility. How do we divvy up the actual construction? Unfortunately, there will be one more step. Our last step will be the utilization agreement. Just before the building is finished, I will come back to you again and we'll talk about who's paying for what to keep that building in operation. Who pays for when the air conditioning breaks? Who pays for the different things? So thank goodness, as with all of these different agreements, we're not starting from scratch. The county has done this in a lot of locations, so we use that as our model. But that's what's coming for you next, is this interlocal agreement that we'd like you to look at for next month. Here's just a couple of elements. I'm not going to spend any time going through the whole thing, but I want to just give you an overview so that you can look over this agreement over the next month. Reach out to me with questions. Our design team is extremely strong, and there's probably a lot of questions you could come up with that I don't know the answers to, but I promise you I can get you those answers, because it's important that we try our best to give you plenty of time to look at it, but to try to vet that over the next 30 days. In that ILA, that interlocal agreement, there's definitions, there's terms, there's the kind of stuff that Mr. Vernon and his colleagues have worked on to get it just right, and that's certainly a necessary part of it, but the legalese, if you will, that go into the agreement. We restate ownership of the project site. This one stands on its own. If you remember, the first one was a memorandum of understanding. The second one was an amendment. Well, this is like a new agreement. So that we're very clear, we restate that the town of Zebulon owns the project site and we're the majority owner of the building. So we keep that. That is key throughout the project, especially when we come up with certain decisions that need to be made relative to the project. Then the ILA goes into the project funding methodology. What percentage do we pay for stuff? What are those sources? It talks about that USDA is contributing $7.5 million. The Wake County's portion comes from two different pots. The general fund pays for the EMS part. The fire tax pays for part of the fire part. So there's multiple funds, and it outlines what the percentages are and the amounts of funding coming from those different sources. And how do we work through? Unfortunately, we don't just write checks. The USDA is very specific about how we pay these bills. So we spell that out in the interlocal agreement to make sure that the USDA is happy with the way we spend the money. And lastly, there's a couple of components that have special funding arrangements. For example, the county will install part of their network system into the building for their computers and stuff. Zebulon won't use that. So Wake County pays for that in its entirety. But likewise, we have stuff in there, network, computer pieces, maybe even security parts that are isolated for Zebulon's ownership. So we pay for that. Most everything else follows that methodology, but the ILA spells out those exceptions to that 5149. We've talked about that percentage quite a bit, but there are some exceptions, and the ILA specifically calls those out and how they're funded. And then lastly, the ILA wraps up one that's finished. How is the building itself own, control the rights of use, and which will kind of sets us up for that utilization agreement that we'll see near the end of the project. So what we did is we put together a little project schedule so you could see. We told you a couple of months ago that things worked pretty fast once we got rolling, and that is absolutely the case, and your actions tonight will keep us on schedule. We'll come to you on August 4th for approval of the ILA and approval of the final finance resolution. Bobby just mentioned that in his presentation. We will bring that to you. The very next day, we will be at the Local Government Commission asking for approval of this project. So some of this is very strategic, the way the order this is, because the LGC would like to see some of this stuff in place. So we've tried to work this schedule so that everything, it's almost like dominoes, and we got to keep them all in a line. Ted could probably educate me a whole lot better on that, but it's a matter of getting it all in the right order. On August 18th, Wake County Board of Commissioners will consider that same ILA, because we want to get that ILA approved by both this board and their board in time for the closing on the financing and USDA's final approval. And you can see we've got those scheduled tentatively for the week of August 18th and the week of August 25th. That coincides, Commissioner Baxter, where you saw the rate was guaranteed to a certain date. That's where that all comes from. We'll be back to you on September 8th, 2025 for our guaranteed maximum price, the GMP amendment approval. That is pretty much as a board, saying we've got all the pieces of the puzzle. We've got the finance, and we've got all the different groups. We've got LGC approval. We got USDA approval. Go. And that's what effectively you're doing on that September 8th meeting. That week, we will issue notice of proceed to Monteith, our construction manager at risk. And they have about 30 days to mobilize, but somewhere early into their mobilization, there'll be some type of groundbreaking to get this thing started. That's exciting. I know that's something I'm looking forward to. And then probably the biggest part I'm looking forward to, in early 2027, we're scheduled for about a 15-month construction. So that should put us early 2027 occupying the facility. So I hope that was intended to give you an idea of just how tight the schedule is. Exactly. I got to take a breath after it. But please don't let the schedule feel like it is a very pushy schedule, but we want to vet these agreements like the ILA. We want to make sure it's right. So if you see parts you've got questions on, please reach out to me. I'm happy to quarterback those questions and get them to the right people. We intend to have representation from the county facility and design and construction at your August 4th meeting. So if you have specific questions relative to the ILA, they could probably we'll have them here to answer those questions as well. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have now, but I just wanted to introduce what's coming at you for the next month.
Any questions, comments from the board for the chief?
I'm super excited.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So if I may jump in, Mayor, so I'd ask Chief Perry to do this so we don't come to you on August 4 and you only see staff report a week before and you're wondering about this ILA, not seeing the details in there. So hopefully we will check in with you in another couple of weeks just to see if you have questions specific, but we're not going to wait until the last week of July to do that. I just want to make sure that, because there's a lot in there and there's a lot of dates. So, thank you.
Next, we will have administration amendment to the interim manager's contract. Attorney. Mr. Vernon.
Mayor, the contract for interim manager Jayoba would expire tomorrow. And what I've done here is present an amendment that would allow the contract to go forward to the earlier of the date that a permanent town manager is hired, or November 7th of 2025. The substantive changes in this are, first, that the interim town manager agrees to devote a minimum of 24 hours. The previous agreement was a maximum of 24 hours, but we found that in practice that we've needed the manager to render more than that time. The only other change is an increase in the hourly rate from $115 an hour to $120 per hour. Based on the lack of imminent hiring for a manager position, this appears to be something that the board should react positively to, and I would recommend that the board endorse this extension.
Any questions, comments from the board?
So while I don't disagree with extending the agreement, I do want to make sure that we are moving forward with purpose in our manager search. Even though this extends the agreement to November 7th, I would like to very much have a permanent town manager hired prior to that date. So while, again, I'm not disagreeing, I think that I'm in favor of this amendment to the town manager, interim town manager's contract. I just want to make sure that we haven't lost sight and that we continue to move forward with a sense of urgency to hire a permanent town manager.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
So just to make sure I understand, we're extending more hours from 24 hours to what? How many hours are we giving now? From 24 hours to what?
There is no maximum on the amount of time. This just reflects that the manager has committed to working a minimum of 24 hours. So we do have them here. We do say that the work shall be performed primarily during a 3-day span between Mondays and Wednesdays. So to a certain extent, it's self-regulating.
Okay.
So that, it doesn't sound like there's much difference of the contract that we have currently versus what we're doing now. We're just doing an extension to the current contract. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The rate went up also.
I'm sorry?
The rate?
That's what I was wondering. So is there an extension and a rate change, or is this just an extension and it's staying the same?
No, ma'am, there is a rate change of $5 an hour from $115 an hour to $120 an hour.
With the opportunity, if we extend it and we are to hire prior, are we able to terminate the contract when we hire the next manager?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I guess all my questions.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
I think it's just right now, this opportunity, as we give it to extend this, possibly in favor, that we stress the importance that we all are on the same page. We're getting the same information from the town manager at the same time frame, that as much can be given to each individual so we can make informed decisions. It's going to be very important as we move forward, that we're all getting the same information.
Any other comments? Questions? We need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the extension, the amendment to the interim town manager's contract.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll vote. Commissioner Baxter.
In favor?
Commissioner Miles.
Favor.
Commissioner Harrison.
Favor.
Commissioner Davis.
Favor.
Motion passes. Thank you. Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you for that. My report is actually focused on Commissioner Baxter's question with regards to the, I don't want to say permanent town manager because nobody's permanent in this job. I'll say long-term manager. So we're doing an in-house recruitment. So we're not spending $30,000 on a recruiter to do this. We've gone through that before. A part of that process, today, you actually had surveys that went out to the board, to to the residents as well as employees. We're going to do that over a 3-week period. On August 4th, I will come to you with a summary of the responses. And so that allows you to hear that, but also gives the public an opportunity to hear what the responses are. After we've really presented that to you, and based on your feedback and where we are, we're going to right away post the position. So probably we're saying 4 weeks from now, we post the position. We could leave it as a rolling opening. So rather than set a 30-day or 15-day, we can leave it continuous, but then have every 2 weeks, we will pull together the number of applications we've received, and then we start scheduling interviews with you. So I'm assuming with that, you probably will start seeing requests for interviews towards the end of August, early September. That could put you into making a decision in September, October timeframe. So yes, we're mindful of that. I understand that for the sake of stability, the best thing would be for the interim town manager to hand off to a long-term manager rather than have someone else in between. And I think that will help achieve some of your goals. So we will be back on August 4th to provide briefing to you with what we've heard from the residents, what we've heard from you, and also what we've heard with employees. Pull that into a job description, post that position roughly about 10 days from that moment, and then we start getting applicants and then scheduling interviews with all of you. That's all I have in my report, if there's any question.
Any questions from the board? Comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Board comments? Commissioner Baxter?
I'd like to thank not only the Juneteenth committee for 2 wonderful celebrations last month, but also each and every town employee from the top all the way on down that made both events possible. It takes a real collaborative effort, a lot of time, and a lot of work to get such successful events to happen. So I'm so very grateful to everyone that came out to help us celebrate. It was really 2 very, very special events, and I look forward to how we're going to collaborate with C3 to create special events to celebrate the Hispanic community in the future. On July 9th, we have one of my favorite things, bingo, at the community center. So 4 p.m., get your little bingo marker, and if you don't have one, there are plenty there. And let's see, July 24th, if anyone is looking to find ways to engage with the community, I know that the Zebulon United Methodist Church is having an open table dinner to kind of sit around and meet your neighbors. And that is going to begin at 5 p.m. And then finally, we are going to be filling our vacant seat. So anyone that is interested in applying for that position, please go to the town website and get your application filled out, because we'll be making that decision shortly. Hopefully everyone had a very safe and 10-finger July 4th. So continue to be safe throughout the summer. Sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. Thanks, everybody.
No comments.
Commissioner Patterson?
No comments.
Commissioner Davis?
No comments.
I had one that the town of Zebulon will be receiving a Main Street Award tomorrow. It'll be right here at Town Hall around 2:30. So if anyone wants to come out and and check with the Shannon Johnson, our economic director, or either Teresa Piner. Thank you for the three gentlemen that came in tonight that wanted to be a part of this process. We're always looking forward to have young folks that are interested in municipal government. Always start young, I say, because it is ever-changing, ever-growing process. And it will make better people out of you in the long run. So thank you for your participation and continued participation.
If I can interject, pick it back off that.
Go ahead.
Thanks again, gentlemen. A lot. Means a lot. Thank you, guys.
Next, we will go into closed session as per allowed by NC General Statute 143-318.11 for the purpose to consult with the town attorney. And the part 2 is litigation, Deacon Development LLC versus the town of Zebulon. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion approved. We will next.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Break to print the.
Okay. Next
We
door.
need a quick break.
5 minute.
Maybe 5.
5 minute break, recess. Thank you.